My name's Adele Onyango and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Hey you, welcome to episode 191. Thanks for rocking with this podcast. If you're new to this space, welcome. We're so glad that you're here joining us. Make sure you remember that audio episodes like this go out every single Monday. And if you head over to legallycluelessafrica.com, you can sign up to join our community. You can also watch our video series there, our tour series. So we have 3 seasons of the video series out, which I think you will thoroughly enjoy because it's amazing, inspiring African stories. So back to this episode, this is what's coming up.
I was very much familiar with things to do with cooking, beauty. I could steal my mom's lipsticks. And, anytime my dad is around, my mom will be like, yo, chill. But that's besides the point. As a kid, I was very much jovial, and I was also a brilliant kid because I remember this time there was this Beyonce song. Sorry, I had to say Beyonce. But there was this Beyonce song, and I was in school, and I remember there was this dance that went like, oh. So I used to call a few of my girlfriends and be like, come and show you this dance. I think it's really cool. So you have to do this. Then when you do this, arc your back and make sure you shake your bam a bit. And I had a crush on someone at the time, and they showed up in the room, and I immediately ran away because the embarrassment is real.
That's a story by someone who has quickly become one of my favorite people. It was such an honor to have him on the latest season of our video series, and it's Dennis Karuri, who's one of Kenya's top makeup artists and personalities. His story is coming up a little later in this episode, well, part 1 of it. All right, let me tell you about the song of the week. I'm really excited about this because this is not music I would normally listen to, but man, oh man, I have fallen for this band. They're called Parcels and they're very interesting, but the song I want you to check out is called Free. The lyrics are so poetic. It's such a sing-along song, but it's so deep. It's like, it's ridiculously deep. I have not been able to stop playing it. I think I discovered it maybe 2.5 weeks ago. And yeah, it's been on replay since then. So check out the show notes. There is a link to it. But if you don't have show notes on the platform you're listening to, just go to YouTube or whatever streaming platform and search Free by Parcels. Just the same way you like parcels, like boxes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I hope you love the song as much as I do. I also hope that you're doing well and that you're surrounded by grace, and that if you are experiencing end-year burnout, because this is around the time it checks in, that you're, being graceful with yourself. It is a thing. You will feel lethargic. You will feel tired. Tasks that were easy to do are a bit harder to do this time of year. You're not being lazy. Dudes, we've survived an entire year of intense work, so just be graceful with yourself. And speaking of work, I'm so proud. Last night, I hosted a Moth main stage. Now, if you don't know, the Moth are an organization that really do a lot of work around storytelling, and I am part of their family. I've told stories as part of their shows in New York and in Nairobi, in Rwanda, and I got to host the 4th main stage in Nairobi. I think, I've hosted the last 3. I didn't host their first one in Nairobi. In fact, that was my first time watching a Moth main stage or even like hearing about them. And then I hosted the 2nd, the 3rd, and last night, which was the 4th. And it was a sold out show, man. And even more than that, I felt so comfortable on that stage. Like, I truly believe like I'm walking in and working in my destiny, which is like around storytelling and real authentic stories, and being part of just like creating spaces for people to be able to share their stories and for others to listen. And it felt so good. I can't explain. Like when you do something that is aligned with your spirit and your entire being, it's not even a high. There's a grounding it comes with, which is amazing. And another thing I'm very proud of, I actually just chatted my stylist about it. My outfit last night was like 90% leg and 10% fabric. But you know what? I didn't feel shy at all. Like, the relationship with my body has greatly improved. I used to be so self-conscious about my legs, especially because I had scars. Well, I still do have them. And at the back of my legs, although they are fading, I have been intentional about caring about my skin. But yeah, I used to wear stockings all the time, full trousers, etc. And I think even yesterday, my makeup artist commented, she was like, wow, I can't believe we've come so far. Look at all this beautiful leg you're showing. And I was like, yeah, can you imagine that? And so I had the shortest shorts on with no stockings, and I just wasn't shy. I wasn't overthinking it. And I'm just so in love with my body right now. And I'm just like, phew. It's about goddamn time, because it's been so many years of just hiding it and hating it and looking down on it. And this feels so good and so healthy. You know, I share this because I know very many of us have different insecurities around our physical bodies. And if you just are intentional about loving your body, giving it things that are healthy for it, accepting it the way it is, acknowledging that it's carried and carries us across so many battlefields. It's so resilient. It's our home. It's beautiful. If you're intentional about doing that work, one day the gray clouds disappear and you start falling in love with your body again. It's possible. That's why I'm sharing that. The last thing I want to share before I get into 100 African stories is something I've been toying with in terms of recording an entire episode on, because it came up in therapy and I've been thinking about it over the last couple of weeks, and going through it in therapy helped me, and I would love it to help you as well. And it's about loss. So in therapy, we spent months combing through losses. And I remember when my therapist asked me about, the things I considered losses, like what do I consider having lost or like having been a loss in my life. I only had like one thing, which was like, my mom died, etc. And like that grief is hectic. And I remember I really did think loss was synonymous with grief. So that was the only loss I thought of. And my therapist would keep pushing me, and it got a bit irritating. At a point, I remember just being like, Aish, can we move on? I've already told you, I have one loss. Next question, please. We combed through everything, like from my first ever relationship to my career, my friendships. And during that exercise, I realized that, there were a lot of losses that I hadn't acknowledged, even just like loss of the childhood I would have desired having, even body, all those years of hating my body because I felt I didn't have the body I originally did before I got raped, and so I had to grieve the loss of that. Heartbreaks, loss of who you thought a person was, getting fired, perhaps a failed business, loss of a physical space. So if you had to leave a house that maybe you loved, or an office you loved, or a business space that you loved, loss could be the family member you no longer speak to. It's so many things, and it sits in your body and it comes with emotions. But I think we only acknowledge like loss that is grief related. And so, I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about diving deeper into that and maybe doing an entire episode on loss. I don't know. Would that be something you would be interested in? Because I think it was quite powerful, almost as powerful as the boundary work that I've done. So just to let you know, I'm thinking about doing an episode on it. And if you have any thoughts before I do it, you can share those on Instagram. We're at Legally Clueless Africa. Okay, so let's dive into the story. I really love Dennis. I love how unapologetic he is of himself. And he's just such a gem, such good, pure energy to be around. It was such an honor having him in the 3rd season of our video series. So, of course, the episode on the video series is a more condensed version of the story. But once you listen to part 1, as you wait for part 2 next week, check out his episode on legallycluelessafrica.com and watch him see how fabulous he looked on set. Anyway, so he's an amazing Kenyan makeup artist, and I just love how he blends the rules of masculinity and how he found the key to just be him. And that's really what his story is about. 100 African stories on Legally Clueless. Stories from Africa.
So my name is Dennis Karuri Ngari from Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. I was also born and raised in Nairobi, Kenya, but my roots are in somewhere in Murang'a. So Dennis Karuri as a child was a very fun kind of boy. I was very energetic. As a kid, I was very playful, and I also was very, very fabulous. Like I was very sassy as a kid. And I remember in school, that's what gave me popularity automatically in my primary school. I was very, very, very much familiar with things to do with cooking, beauty. I could steal my mom's lipsticks. And, you know, anytime my dad is around, my mom will be like, yo, chill. But that's besides the point. As a kid, I was very much jovial, and I was also a brilliant kid because in our system here in Kenya, we used to have like the preschool. So preschool was, I think, baby class, nursery, pre-unit, then class 1. So me, I went to baby class. Then I immediately went to pre-unit, and then pre-unit and class 1, I did that for 1 year actually. And it was just, you know, the headmaster was like, hey, this boy is very brilliant for you. You cannot stick around with these other kids. Let him just go to now class 2. So preschool to now primary school took me 2 years. I used to literally look for material, sew material together and make an outfit just by myself. Period. I could do that. And when I was in school, I was always drawing things, always drawing things. I could also write things. I was also very, very much good in like coming up with rhyming words for people. So I think creativity is something that was like inside of me ever since I was a kid. So growing up, I don't think this is anything that my parents thought could be like anything that is like special, because I think it's not very normal. So it was just there, but I was not like drawn towards it in terms of now being taught to enhance my creativity, taught how to, you know, express myself. I remember this time there was this Beyonce song. Sorry, I had to say Beyonce. But there was this Beyonce song and I was in school, and I remember there was this dance that went like, oh, 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 oh. So I used to call a few of my girlfriends and be like, come and show you this dance. I think it's really cool. So you have to do this. Then when you do this, arch your back and make sure you shake your bum bum a bit. And I had a crush on someone at the time, and they showed up in the room and I immediately ran away because the embarrassment is real. As a kid, mom was very, very much supportive of me. My mom was very much like, she's never been like, you know, remove my shoes, don't wear my lipstick, don't wear those clothes. She'd be like, you know, when dad comes around, just don't do that because he's not expecting that from you. Also, my elder brother was also kind of like, yo, you don't have to do this. But, you know, they were family and they were not like bringing it in a bad light. So I didn't think this is anything that would like be viewed in a certain way until I went to high school. Before I joined high school, actually, because of now having to, you know, like skip some classes, because of that, I finished my KCP when I was 12 years. Yes, and at the time, mom was very scared. She was always telling me, you know, I think you'll go get bullied because people are being told that, you know, hey, these Kenyan high schools, hey, you'll be told to call your parents with that shoe of that captain whose feet are smelly, and they ask you to call home and make sure your parent picks up and they bring you snacks the following day. You can imagine the frustration. So my mom was like, I don't think you're ready to go to high school yet because you're very young. Like, my mom thought I'm soft in nature, of which I don't think I'm really soft. I'm hardcore. Anyway, so mom was like, you really have to repeat because I don't care. You are my little boy. You're going to go, you're going to be harassed. At least stick around, develop some deep voice at least. And I did, but then that gave me so much stress, to be honest. I was so stressed repeating. Oh God, oh, I'm a winner, baby. Period. So repeating kind of like I got so stressed, I developed very serious ulcers. Yes, because also I was taken out to a private school, and these were those private schools that when you hear the praises about that school, you're like, they will literally teach you handwriting and cane you in the process. So that school discipline was very, very prominent. Just by the nature of like what I knew about the school gave me stress. So I remember my mom used to like, she paid for like prescription of milk. I had milk prescription morning, midday, and also evening. So I finished and I passed, and I now went to high school. And the high school I went to was somewhere in Central Province. Good thing or bad thing, I don't know. One of the dormitories was named after me, Karuri. Yes. If you do your research, Africa, among the Kenyan communities, Karuri formed, he has played a role in those times of the, the colonial rule. So Karuri, that being my name, is also named after a dormitory in the school. So that was an automatic selling point of popularity. And I immediately got popular in high school. Moving forward, Form 1, I was very, very, I was just like in my own bubble, honestly, because I was just trying to read the vibe, to read the energy. Still, I was myself. But then when I got to Form 2, I now started joining the arts, okay? So I joined drama, music, but before that, I was like, hey, I was judging those people who were doing drama because they were always going to those trips and, coming back with scandals. But I was like, you know what? This is Form 2. I'm growing up. Let me just experience. So there was this play that actually was really good. We even this close to literally being called to the State House because it was a very Kenyans and Kenyan high schools and the drama festivals, they're very competitive. So there was this play, and the only role that was not casted was a female role. No one wanted to cast for that role. Who am I? I casted for it. And I did it so well. Trust me, I did it so well. I meet people from other schools nowadays and they tell me, Dennis, that was not you on stage, that was a girl. Because my voice had not broken and I was very sassy. I had some very weird makeup on, but that was makeup of the time. And there was a makeup artist who did that for us. It was just so crazy and interesting. So because of that drama, the role I played, of course, popularity now became even more because I used to be awarded certificates for best actor in front of the whole school. And now they started calling me names. So the name that I was being called in the play was Sophia. So literally that was my name in high school. If anyone from that school is watching, everyone was calling me Sophie, Sophia. And I was like, yeah, bring it on. But it had a certain effect on me, honestly, because I was like, I am not Sophia, to be honest. My name is Dennis. And that's just what it is. I became a bit defensive because people are asking me some questions, and I started doing practice. Like I practiced on how to behave myself because they're always talking about how I was walking, how I was talking. So I did like a 21-day, change of behavior, and successful. I was just I just came from sass to months. To a man in like a month. And I used to hit on, like when you're in high school, you when ladies like you, they fall for you, that's a bit of glory. And it's a boys' school, and everyone is just like, I have a girlfriend, that was like the thing. And me, I had like girlfriends. So that's where they drew the line. They're like, hey, this one is a dangerous one. This one is very dangerous. You can literally make any girl fall for her. But during this 21-day practice, I felt mostly determined to prove that, I was in so much denial that whatever you guys are calling me, that's not me. So I was I had a lot of determination to prove that I am not who you think I am, of which I think it's just naivety and trying to be accepted. And that was not right, to be honest, because the reason why I did it was not even for me. I was doing it for my classmates. And that is where I was wrong, because I didn't even allow myself to feel that this is not me being me. I allowed myself to feel like I have to do this so that I fit in, okay? And I managed to do it, and it went along from Form 2 all the way to campus. Yes. Yes. I literally, I had closed off that chapter. Like I had literally blocked myself. I had literally put myself inside a box that is never to be opened again. Yeah, and to be honest, it had a toll on me because over time I could have a lot of emotion that was just making me feel down. Because in as much as I'm trying to do all these things, I'm not feeling like it's coming from a place of truth, from a place of genuineness, from a place of, me. So it was a bit tiring, to be honest. Yeah, to be honest, it was a bit tiring. But I could not feel being tired because the denial was what's taking over me, to be honest. Yeah. I did not break my shell in campus really. It was actually after campus that I decided to just turn my back, follow my path, follow me, and just live about me. But then I joined campus, and me in campus, my dad is an agriculturalist. And I automatically, because growing up as a kid in an agricultural setting, my dad, we lived in a town setting, but my dad always loved agricultural stuff. So also my mom got involved in the same. And, because of always doing that, that's what I felt like this is it for me. And also dad was really, really, really supportive of the agriculture bit. And, the course that I chose for agriculture, it was like a super, those courses that require high points for you to just like have the government sponsor you because there's free education in university. But then I had missed some points for me to do that course, because that course, the minimum was A minus and I had a B plus. So dad had to pay for me parallel, and parallel degree is not cheap. That degree is not cheap. So I joined, and dad and mom were very supportive, and I was going for my classes. But there's one thing that I truly, truly desired genuinely from my heart and soul was moving out of home. I really, really wanted to move out of home and just start doing me, just making my own decisions independently. So I devised a trick because my mom could never allow me to leave home because I was already in scandals. Oh my God, it's true. There was this time I was consoling a friend of mine. My sister did not live far from where I was studying. So I was consoling this friend of mine. She had like cramps going on. So I told her, no, my sister has a place. We can go crash at her house. She's not around. So once you're there, you can just like lie down and just calm down, and the rest of us are watching a movie. Yeah. But then my sister came and found me and her in the bedroom, and my sister automatically judged me, called my mom and told her Dennis is doing, usherati here in Kenya. So my mom was so pissed at me. Like I've never seen my mom so pissed at me, and she was super, super pissed. In fact, I came home, I found her washing dishes. She threw the dish like that dirty water on me and was like, "Oh, surely, do I deserve this?" But it has already happened, and she was so mad. My mom was so mad. She was like, I did not take you to campus to start going and impregnating women out there. You don't have, and in fact, to make matters worse, it's in your sister's house. So for them to allow me to now live by myself, it was an automatic no. So I had to be brilliant about it. So I looked for a house. This house the rent was like, it was a hostel. So these hostels, they already have a bed, and it's furnished for a student. It's very comfortable for a student furnish, So, but you only pay rent. You don't come with a mattress. You just come with bedding, outfits, and maybe cups, the things that you love, your favorite things. And I had to lie. I told Dad, I've paid half the deposit, and I've already taken it because this one is such a bargain. I cannot let it go. Just send me the other half. I have already paid it. And if you guys don't send this money, this house will go. And I don't even tell them that I'm looking for a house. I just told them me being here will be good for my studies. Well. But, they were like, okay, if you're able to raise some money, then who are we not to support? My dad was proud of, my parents like if you trying to do things on your own, trying to be independent, they like it. They like it so much. And especially in terms of making money, because my mom was into business, my dad was into business. So they've never really insisted that we need to go into business. They took us to school so that we can be able to empower ourselves. You can be employed, you can do business, you just do what you want. But they kind of thought that, Dennis has done, but I lied. I said I paid a certain amount, but the balance that I told them was the whole amount. That was the whole amount because I had a roommate. So my roommate now was the one who had paid the half. So technically I was not lying, but still. So my dad paid, and that was the first house. Okay, my dad is not really the guy to come visit you. That's not my dad. No. But then he came to that house, and where I'm living right now, that's the second place my dad has come to visit me. All those houses I've lived in, numerous houses, my dad has never even found the interest. And even this time for him to come, it's my sisters who are like, hey, you need to see where Dennis lives now. He's really living in a very nice place. So I think you need to come see how your son is living. And he was very impressed actually, and I was happy. I felt proud that he was proud. So I had a roommate. Unfortunately, he's late right now. Rest his soul in peace. I loved him so much. He was very, very protective of me. He was me being me in campus already. At the time, I had already started following my own path. My sister was now joining campus. And my friend was kind of can I hit on your sister for a minute? And I was like, you know what? As long as we make sure these boys don't don't start calling me names in the streets, I got you. I'll tell my sister to. But yeah, we had a very, very open, very fluid way of handling things, and that's why my dad visited me, and my dad knew him. Campus was the very first time I started also dating. All this time I was doing fake dates, to be honest. I was lying to myself. So I was in a relationship in campus that lasted for a year, and among the things that literally moved me from the dark, because to be honest, if you're not aware you're in the dark, that's just how it is. In 2014, I was in my second year, and I was in this relationship. It was nice, I was okay. But then when my mom passed on, that's where things hit the rock. And, my relationship ended because of the same. I had to mourn my mom. I was doing exams these exams were to take me to the third year. I was not even able to do my exams because of the depression, the anxiety. My mom was my best friend. And to be honest, the only thing that I was aware of is how am I going to be successful enough to make my mom proud? Now my mom is no longer there. Who am I supposed to make proud? I had a lot of suicidal thoughts. I had a lot of, nilirudi nyuma. Yeah, I could not fathom, I did not understand. And also, death is something that just hits you different. I did not really understand what is happening to me at the time. So that is the very first time it hit me that you and only you have you. It's your life to live. You can only live your own life. It's not your mom's life. It's not your dad's life. It is your life. So that awareness came to me, and I decided to make things work for me because mom was the one paying my rent. Dad was the one paying my school fees. And mom was no longer there to pay my rent. So dad was like, you know what? Come home, girl. Come home, boy. But that was not an option for me. I'd rather be on my friends door like, hey girl, can I come crash? Because going home, to be honest, home is cozy, home is everything. But I like freedom, and also there was grief. There was a lot of grief back at home. My siblings, I have 6 siblings. We are 7 kids, by the way. I did not mention that. And I'm the third born, so 4 of them are below me. So everyone above me was already living their life. So the rest below me were kind of looking up to me, and the grief was a bit crazy. But then they had school and everything, so I'm sure that was like keeping their mind off it. But then when I was like going home, mom is not around, I'm the one to wake up, do all those things. I was like, I don't think so. I'm not doing that. So I decided to join modeling, and I paid for modeling training. There was this agency that came about, and it turned out to be a scam, by the way. Oh, this life is crazy. There was this agency that I paid, and guys, if you have to pay to join an agency, it's a scam. That's the first lesson. So I joined this agency, and they said that this money you're paying is for training, of which they were training us. And to be honest, it was not such a loss because I became good until I now started training my other models. But this was not being paid. I was not being paid for training. They were like, yo, hey, Dennis is so good. Hey, come help us. And I was like, hey, I'm feeling myself. But no. Girl, no. So I was helping out with the training, and we used to get a few gigs here and there, but most of them were kind of free because we could spend so much time going for training only for us to be paid 2,000 shillings that maybe you spent even literally, when you count the transport, the food and everything you've spent, it's literally even 5 times the 2,000 you're paid for that one gig. And through this modeling, that's where makeup came in. That's where my life began. That's where I kind of found out what I'm made of and where I can really, really express my creativity. I'm passionate about fashion. I'm passionate about beauty, hair. Like also as a kid, hair was a big thing for me. I used to put like a towel on my hair and be like, girl, yes. But when it came to makeup, it just had a certain spark in me. And there was this time, it was actually the very first day of auditioning that makeup was done on me. And, we had to do a photo shoot for casting, the models to be casted. And I looked so good in the pictures. I was like, wow, so this is what makeup can do for you. And it made me feel good outside and inside. And that is where the spark started. And I carried on with the spirit by helping my fellow models with any problems they had with their makeup. I was helping them with like touching up anything. Like I will just be like there for like the girls who would need anything. So at this time, I didn't think that this is anything that, I could make a career from. So one day, there's this model who we were modeling with, and a designer from Tanzania came in, and she was like, my makeup artist has failed me, and I really need my models to have their makeup done. And not just makeup, creative African makeup. And you can imagine, first job of makeup, you're being told, we need a creative African look. You have to do it because this is a show that has guests waiting. It's a place that people have paid for, so you have to make it work. Me on my way there with YouTube. Okay, so this is how you do it. Okay, on my way to work, because what the model said was, I can only do this job if Dennis helps me, because she was also not a makeup artist. She was also a model. So she just gathered anything she could gather from her kit. I had nothing, to be honest. I was not wearing any makeup. So she gathered her kit and we went. And on the way, we were there in YouTube, how to do those dots. Yeah. Okay, interesting. We had no paint. Girl. So I'm over there. I thought, whenever I see a girl in foundation, I'll be like, hey, I can't even see your skin. You look fake. So that was just a lot of naivety. Maybe I was just nervous, very naive, because I did not apply foundation on my models on that day. They had no foundation on, but I made sure their skin is flawless. So I could take a bit of product and just conceal any blemish that I could see, and then do a powder on top, and then I'll start doing the details. So I could take concealer of like, I could take concealer from like from someone with like a white skin tone, and take that concealer from that specific product and use the back of the brush to now make dots on the face. And I discovered that there and then because there were no paint brushes. And YouTube insisted you have to be a professional artist. You have to make the dots. So I just used the back of the brush, which was automatically round. Ting, 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 ting. Done and dusted. And I was done with my models. I even started now helping my colleague with her models. And we got paid. And we were paid like 3 times more than the models. And, the models are like, okay, now time for the cash. Me, I was already paid. And I could hear what they were paid, and I just kept quiet. I was like, interesting. This is very interesting. Interesting. So one thing I discovered is also behind the scenes, a lot happens. So that's just it. And that's where I knew if I'm getting paid for this, then this is what I'm going to do. And remember, I'm still in campus.
Catch more African stories in the next episode of Legally Clueless. How powerful is that already? It's so amazing whenever I record stories where people allow us into such a vulnerable room in their life. You know what I mean? So like him talking about taking 21 days to try and become other people's definition of what masculinity is. Kind of weaving through how he got out of that. This is such a powerful story. I cannot wait for you to listen to part 2. That's going to be out in episode 192 next week. But in the show notes, there's a link to Dennis's social media platforms in case you want to connect with him, see the work that he does. There's also a link to our YouTube channel. You can watch our video series on there. He's in season 3. Or you could watch it on legallycluelessafrica.com. If you want to share your story as well on this podcast, that is very possible. Just in the show notes, click the link to the Google form, fill it out, and I'll get back to you. You can also catch this podcast on Trace FM in Kenya, which is super awesome. We're in our 3rd year of being syndicated there, which is just amazing. And all you have to do is go to traceradio.co.ke. You can stream us there. You can download the app to listen. And we are there every Monday and Wednesday at 1 p.m. and 11 p.m. and every Friday at 1 p.m. As usual, I'm going to end this episode just wishing you more grace, especially if you are feeling that end year burnout. I share this because it can be ruthless. It really can. And this is the month it starts to like creep in. Actually, I think mine started last month. Now I'm like kidogo struggling. But I'm being graceful with myself. It's been such a long year, man. Like so much has been done work-wise. Of course, my body is tired. So if you're experiencing the same, just extend some grace to yourself. And I'll catch you in next week's episode. That's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.